G'day Space Detectives. Today we are looking at this image from Sol 467. This was taken a number of years back now, back in 2013 by the Curiosity Rover. Now the Curiosity Rover is actually a couple of miles away from this area, but I zoomed the camera right in to the base of Mount Sharp here. You can see that some of the lower slopes of Mount Sharp and some of these rather strange domes and buttes and stuff. And we have this kind of blurred out area here with what looks like some kind of vessel just here. Okay, just there. Now, what you need to do with this image really is to color correct it, which will make it go much bluer, and it gets rid of this kind of orange filter which kind of makes everything look the same color. So I've showed people how to do that before in previous videos. If you want any sort of tips on how to treat these images and get the best out of them, there is a playlist that I'll link to on how to work with Mars images and stuff, so I'll put a link to that, so check that out. So basically I've got it up in the Gigapan here as well. Now credit to Neville Thompson for this. This is a nice PDS Gigapan, so it's quite good quality. It's a little dark, but I'd say about right actually, because what he's done here, when you zoom in, you can see this vessel type thing here. Okay, I'm not going to go full screen because it will screw up my video card on here. Basically we have this thing which looks like a ship. Now the question is it a building? Is it a ship? Is it a boat? Is it something else? That's the point. Whatever it is, it looks intelligent and it looks like it's parked on what looks like a small, well not small, this is large. I would say this area here is hundreds of feet across. Okay. This is probably about 400 feet from here to here. So this thing is very large, possibly as large as 200 feet, possibly bigger. Okay, could be 300 or 400 feet, this thing on its own. Okay, right, so that's the sort of rough size. I'll try and work it out a bit more accurately and put more details in the description with all the links and everything else, so you can link to this and have a look yourself. Now, this is right below an area that I coined the Forbidden City. Now, I named it that a few years ago now, because lots of us researchers have been looking at this, and there's pyramids and huge structures up here. There's the giant hangar, there's a sort of bent pyramid there, there's other pyramids and domes and things further over, but we're not going to concentrate on that today. The reason I called it the Forbidden City is because basically NASA never talk about it, even though they know it's there. They refuse to mention it or even acknowledge the fact that these are buildings up here. At least some of them are, okay? And there is a video I did previously covering a lot of this with what I coined the sewer outlet or outflow pipes here. You can see where the water erosions come down and eroded this mound. And there's also another mound here with a kind of slot in it, like a bunker type thing. And there's loads of other crazy stuff. And what I've got here is I've got sewer outlet on Mars Mountain, Forbidden City. Now this goes into a lot more detail about these domes and structures and huge hangar type things and pyramids. So if you want to check those out, go to this video. There will be a link, a card link at the end of this video for that. So you can just click straight onto that and it will take you straight to that video. Okay, so there we have it. Here's the raw image and you can see it pretty clearly in the raw image. So you don't even need to enhance it, to be honest. And if you don't want to take clips and enhance it yourself, you can just link straight to this Gigapan by Neville T. Really nice, it's nice and clear, and you've got some pretty good detail just here, and you can see it, okay? I put it into my graphics processor here, and this is the raw clip. Let's have a look at that first. Now, it's not very clear, and the way to get rid of this brown or orange filter, what I do, usually, is use a fade correction, and set to number 1. And then oh, that's on number 7. We don't want 7, we want about 1. Okay, and then it goes really blue, and then I add contrast. Okay, let's go -10. Let's do that a few times. There we are. That's all you got to do. Now you can see it. It's pretty clear. Let's go much darker. There we are. And you can see the shape of it here. Comes around like that, and it comes around like that. Okay. Now this is a small kind of clip of the image. Let's get rid of that. That's the raw clip. Let me show you the Gigapan I've done. Now this is pretty big and basically it's already been color corrected like I just showed you. I used fade correction and a bit of contrast to make it look more natural. And there we have it. There it is. You can see it quite clearly there. Now, this is hundreds of feet long. I don't know exactly, but pay attention to the whole area. We've got a long structure here, like a rectangle. There's another rectangle in there. The boat or vessel or craft or whatever it is comes right round like that and comes to there like this. Okay? And it's kind of parked up against this structure here. There's also this thing down here. Okay. Now let's make that brush a bit smaller this time. And this also looks like a structure. Now it looks just kind of like a rock when you look at it straight away. But as I've said hundreds of times before, you've really got to think about these structures in a different way, because they may look natural initially, but when you look at the details, we got a rectangular kind of window or structure to it there. Okay, and if you look carefully on the back, especially if you darken it, let's go a bit darker, you can see these two box-like structures on the back. Okay, one there and one there. Now this could be a wrecked ship. You've got a rectangular part here, like a hatch. And you've got some other details there as well, interesting details, but it's a bit vague. So there are other things in the area that make it look artificial. And particularly, this is the spot we're looking at. So, like I said, if you want to see more on the Forbidden City, go to my other videos. There's plenty of videos on that I've done before. I've done about 20 or 30 now on that area, with all the different domes and pyramids and stuff like that. Okay. Now, this is a clip of the raw image that's been enhanced. I've upped the contrast, I've brightened it a hell of a lot, and I've colour corrected it, but it's gone a bit of a funny mucky colour. Now, when you really push the contrast on these images like this, they do get pretty mucky, okay? So you've got to be careful how far you take it. But you can see the shape of this thing. In fact, you can even see what looks like a sort of cockpit here, just here. Okay, let's go a bit bigger with that. Right, now, what I want you to pay attention to is the overall shape. So we've got a long straight ridge coming right along. Okay, we've got that there. We've got a rectangular kind of part here. We've got this angle coming up here. Now this to me looks like a slipway or kind of docking area. And we've got a straight ridge coming along the back here. We've got this part coming down like this. There's a pipe thing here sticking up and some other structures there. Can't really make out what they are exactly. And this part of the structure comes down to there, okay? Now, that's what I think is part of the dock, and in fact this straight line goes right along to here, and the whole thing itself comes to about here, I think, and like that, okay? And this thing looks like it's kind of parked or kind of wedged up against it. Now, whether this is a ship or spacecraft or whatever, I don't know. It looks to me like an amphibious vessel of some sort, but it may be a flying vessel that is amphibious, like a flying boat. We have them on Earth. This was full of water, at least up to about here anyway, not that long ago, I would say, literally only a few thousand years ago, possibly even more recently. Okay. And we have, if you look at the back here, you can see the structures come along here. They've got the long straight bit. Now I thought the ship only came to about here. You can see that shape coming around there, okay? I thought it only came to here, but in fact, it's joined to all this stuff here. You've got the straight part here. You've got the cockpit coming down like that. I call it the cockpit, don't know if it is a cockpit, but it looks like one, so that's what I'm gonna call it, for want of a better term. There's also a kind of window type thing here. This may be a jet kind of outlet, like a jet nozzle or something. Now, I don't know whether it went, if this is a ship, I don't know whether it went this way or that way. I don't know which way round it is. We don't really know the design of it specifically. I'm just showing you the general shapes here to give you an idea of what I'm trying to get across. So let's get rid of all that. And now I'm going to darken it and you'll see these shapes pop out even more. If I go back a little bit like that, let's go really dark. Let's go a few times and that really should stand out. Now let's add some brightness to make it a bit brighter because that's too dark. We want to maintain those dark shadows. Now you can see that rectangular structure there quite clearly. Okay, it's definitely there. You've got this long straight part to it here. You can see that angled part here coming down. And now this ship actually really stands out. You can see the shape of it really well. Okay, it reminded me of like a Klingon ship with a sort of neck to it, you know. There we have it. Let's go in a bit closer. We've got different parts to it here. A straight part there. We got that bright part there. We got the cockpit there, which kind of comes around like that. That was a bit clumsy, but yeah, you get the general idea. So it's definitely there. The question is, what is it? It doesn't look like a building, but of course, as I've shown before, many of the buildings in this area look kind of boat-shaped, or teardrop-shaped, or dome-shaped. So this could be a structure, but to me, it looks like it's parked in a sort of docking area. We've got this large rectangular area here that comes right over to here. Okay, you can see it pretty clearly. And it also looks like the image has been obfuscated. And a lot of this, let's go back to that. You can see it clearer now when it's brighter. You can see all along the back here, you've got all these kind of scuff marks where it looks like it's been blurred. This whole area back here, especially, has been obfuscated by the looks of it. Now, a lot of that is down to JPEG distortion. And when you enhance the contrast on the image, it also enhances the distortion in the image, making it less clear. So if you enhance them too far, they get really mucky and grubby looking, and you get all these kind of artifacts appearing, but that's mainly down to the JPEG format. Okay, now I don't use JPEGs, these are all bitmaps. But of course, if the originals were JPEGs, that's what will happen. So there we are, but you can see quite clearly there's this kind of thing sticking up here. It's kind of a square thing here, with a pipe sticking up like that. Okay, you see that? It's going close. Let's darken that a bit more, because I think it looks a bit better and clearer for you on your mobile devices out there if you go a bit darker. Now you can see there's a lot of distortion up behind it, but you can see the back of this thing. Go a bit more carefully now. And this part to it is very clear, the shape around the bottom edge here, because it's got a nice hard shadow there, and then it comes right along to there, and it seems like it kind of comes to about here. But of course, if there's lots of wreckage in the area and subsided buildings and stuff, and there could have been a landslide here, then a lot of this could be obscured, and a lot of this may just be kind of sand and stuff at the back here, and it's kind of out of focus. So it does look like it's been obfuscated, but it also is down to poor image quality. Okay, even in the PDS Gigapan image, when you get in close, it does get pretty grungy. But you can see those shapes; they're definitely there. So this is kind of like a dock. That's what it looks like to me, like a docking area. There's also a weird boat-shaped thing just here, up here. Okay, let's zoom into that. Just there. Weird. See that? Comes to there, like that. Okay. And there's also some interesting parts to this thing at the back. This structure here. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, so there we are. And there are lots of other things in this image. Let me show you the overall image again. Now, basically, we got this thing down here, which I think is also some kind of barge or something, because it's got that long shape. It seems to be quite angled at the front there, but this may have listed over or maybe broken off. Like many of these structures I've shown before, a lot of them are actually damaged and snapped in half and rolled over or listed over. But you can actually see quite clearly on this one that it's got these kind of boxes on the back of it, and it kind of comes down like that. It's pretty straight, but that rectangular part to me makes it look like something at least. What it is, whether it's a barge or some kind of half-buried structure, I don't know. But there are many, many things like this in the area, and you've also got over here the giant sphinx. Now, this isn't a very good view of the giant sphinx, just here. Sorry, it's not zooming in very well. My mouse is struggling here. There it is, there's the base of the sphinx. This is the back end of it, this is the arse end of the sphinx. That's the head of the Sphinx, and it's looking up this way, okay? Now, what's up here? Up here, we have the causeway. Let me go to the bottom of the causeway. You could drive all the way up here, like a road. It goes all the way up, and you've got a slope going up here. And you could drive up to here, and then up through this valley area, up to the Forbidden City, okay? Now, what is that pointing at? There is something up here, okay? Now, I've shown these before. There is a pyramid up here. You can't see it very well from this angle because it's obscured by these domes, but there are buildings up here, and there may be temples and stuff. And in some of the later souls, as I've shown, there are pointed domes and pyramids and all sorts of crazy structures up here. So what I'm suggesting is that one of these buildings is being pointed to by this Sphinx, which is looking right up here, and it's just out of shot, okay? And it may be that pointed dome that I did a video of recently, which is just over here, but we can't see it. It actually sticks up like a pointed dome like this, but we can't see it from this angle, but it is there, and I'll put a link to it at the end of this video so you can check that out. So that may be some kind of religious kind of building, or a building of some kind of significance, geometric significance, and this is kind of lined up with it, okay? So the Sphinx down here is actually pointing us to some of these structures, which is very interesting, okay? So there's that. So what I'll do, I'll put this this Gigapan, I'll put it up on ArtAlienTV-Mars magazine. If you want to download it, you can, okay? And if you haven't done already, you can download the raw image. All the links will be below for all these things. You can have a look at the Gigapan I've got here. Zoom out of that a bit. So all you've got to do is look straight below that big wall, okay? That massive, which is mostly natural, but there are unnatural buildings above it and around it. You just go straight down, and the amphibious craft, or flying boat or whatever, is just there. You can see it pretty clearly. And you can see, without doing anything to that, you can see the shape. That shadow comes right round to there, and there's the shape of it. And you can see the docking area, you can see that rectangular thing. You've got to squint a bit, you can see it. But all you have to do really is take a clip of that area and add loads of contrast, like I showed you. Really, really simple. It's not difficult to do. Most of these things are already visible with the naked eye. You don't even need to do anything really. So the Gigapan's pretty cool. So thanks to Neville T for that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Clips coming up now.